And here to break it all down, Jamil, Jaffer, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. Thank you so much for joining us. What exactly is included in this executive order from the president?
Well, Asia, the primary key to this executive order is it's a response to what we've seen over the course of the last few years. Various regimes, Iran, China, and in particular now Russia, detaining Americans, sometimes on trumped-up charges of spying. In the case of Brittany Griner, trumped-up drug smuggling charges that she's now pled guilty to. And the goal of the executive order is to allow U.S. government agencies to impose financial measures on those involved in unlawful detention of Americans and hostage-taking to provide penalties and essentially deter this behavior from continuing forward.
Because you mentioned WNBA star Brittany Griner, I have to wonder, how much do you think her particular case has to do with the moving forward of this executive order? And what kind of message do you think President Biden is trying to send here to Putin and also other countries?
Well, look, there's no doubt that the Griner detention has been a huge issue. It's created a significant amount of media attention, a significant amount of public attention on what's been a longstanding issue. There are a lot of families very unhappy that we're only now getting to focusing on attention on this issue. But of course, they're glad to have the Biden administration and the White House finally engaged. Brittany Griner, obviously a multi-time gold medalist athlete, 7-time WNBA All-Star, including this year where she's been named an All-Star, even though she's currently in detention in Russia. But look, I think the message that President Biden is trying to send here is you can't simply detain Americans and hope to get trades like we did for Trevor Reed, the Marine who was detained in Russia, that you're going to need to stop doing this, and that you're going to have financial penalties if you engage this behavior going forward, whether you're a nation state or a private actor, or the combination of the two, where these things come together, like in Russia, where there are a number of illicit organizations that seek to engage in planting evidence that might have these people get arrested by governments.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the executive order expands the government's ability to target these hostage takers. But how will we see this in actual practice help when trying to get hostages and wrongfully detained Americans home to the U.S.?
Well, that's a great question. I think the executive order, creates additional pressure and additional incentive within the agencies to do more work in this space. But at the end of the day, it really takes an actively engaged White House to go and negotiate the release of these folks. And I do think at some level, we're going to have to be willing to engage in some horse trading for our people. We've largely avoided doing that because we don't want to create an additional incentive for these folks to take more detainees. Unfortunately, there are over 60 Americans who remain detained unlawfully. We're going to have to figure out a way to get them home. That starts with Brittany Griner, who's now the most recent detainee by Russia, but it goes to a number of folks that we've had in Russia for a long time and the like. And at the end of the day, it's going to mean some engagement by the president and some concessions on our end, as we made the case of Trevor Reed trading a Russian pilot for Trevor to get him back. That was a successful case. We'll probably see a little bit more of that going forward. We have to figure out how to do that, though, Asia, without creating incentive for these people just to take more detainees over and over again and repeat this process until they get everyone they want out of U.S. prisons.
Yeah, and to that point, experts are saying that wrongful detention and hostage taking of Americans is a growing crisis. What else do you think can be done to prevent this problem from getting even worse or even happening? Do you anticipate that this means a lot of Americans do take these different cases as warning signs and, where applicable, maybe aren't traveling to countries where this could potentially happen? I think in the case of WNBA star Brittany Griner, that's one situation that was drawn attention to, is the fact that oftentimes these countries that could provide political risks moving forward do tend to also provide a lot of incentive for athletes internationally.
You're exactly right, Asia. And in this executive order, the State Department now has a new categorization for countries, the category D. These are countries that are at high risk of taking Americans as detainees, countries like Iran, countries like China and Russia, and they're recommending that Americans not travel to these countries. Now, of course, in the case of Brittany Griner, as you rightly point out, Asia, she went there because she's a well-known athlete in the U.S., a well-known athlete there in Russia. She plays for a Russian team, UMMC Ekaterinburg, in addition to her American team in Phoenix. And so they knew she was coming. They identified that she might have drugs on her. Brittany has now pled guilty to having those drugs on her, but 10 years for 2 vape cartridges of hashish oil doesn't seem like quite the right penalty. And so these are obviously trumped up charges of drug smuggling. And it's no coincidence that Brittany was detained a week before Russia invaded Ukraine, knowing the U.S. government was likely to back Ukraine in that fight, as we have.
Yeah, Jamil, you also noted that this is kind of a long time coming and a slow drip that potentially other families of hostages have been waiting to happen from the Biden administration. So, of course, a good step in the right direction. But do you think there is more that this administration should be doing right now to combat the threat of hostage taking and also detentions?
Well, look, I think there is more we could be doing. It's a good step forward that we're going to now threaten financial sanctions. But this seems to be the only tool that we have in our toolkit when it comes to punishing foreign nations for bad behavior, financial sanctions. And we have to make clear to foreign nations that you can't simply take Americans and wrongfully detain them without costs that go beyond just financial sanctions. The administration has to come up with additional tools that we're going to utilize that go just beyond more and more sanctions. That's become an ineffective tool largely to regulate foreign behavior. We saw that in the case of Russia. Sanctions did not deter them from going to Ukraine. We've got to be willing to get more aggressive. That may mean detaining their people here in the United States. That may mean kicking their ambassadors and their intelligence agents out of our embassies and out of consulates around the world. Right? We haven't gone down that road. We need to get much more aggressive. And this is in some ways overdue. Sherelle Griner, Brittany's wife, complained for many, many weeks and months before she got the attention of the Biden administration, before the president called her, before the vice president called her, and before they reached out to Brittany directly through a responsive letter. I mean, it should not take this long when a WNBA star is captured, and it shouldn't take this long for the 60-plus detainees, Americans that are held in Iran and China today without recourse to the U.S. government. We need to be doing more and getting much more aggressive and pushing back on foreign nations that engage in this kind of behavior. And financial sanctions just aren't enough. It's a good first step. We need to do more.
As we mentioned earlier, this is being called a growing crisis from experts. How much should the everyday American be concerned about this and practice caution when traveling to other countries? You mentioned there are new classifications that come with this order, now listing countries that are deemed more risky on this side of things. How would you give advice to Americans, especially during this travel season when we're seeing everyone's been pent up during this pandemic and there's a big boom in travel and vacations?
Well, look, I think it's fairly obvious. I mean, you shouldn't be traveling to countries that are at war with our allies like Russia. You shouldn't be hiking, as some young Americans have done, along the mountains on the border with Iran. You might wander into Iranian territory. This is not a good plan, right? And so Americans should use a little bit of common sense. And you can check the State Department list now, these delisted countries, and avoid going to them. But, it seems that at times we've had sort of adventurous young people who think it might be their interest to go hiking on the borders of China or Russia or Iran. That's a bad idea. Don't go do that. A little common sense goes a long way in this regard.
Appreciate that note. That's Jamil Jaffer, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. Thanks so much for joining us and breaking that all down.